in the early 90s, we started to think through kind of how, what would happen if you digitized the leather wallet, right? So, what many people, may or may not be aware of, Sam, amongst many things that he's done in the telecommunication space, was also the inventor of the digital diary, the diary in which you stored names, addresses, appointments, things of that sort. And he had a patent for which actually used to collect royalty from a lot of companies, which made that diary popular back in the 70s and 80s. And in some ways, as I started to work for Sam in the early 90s, a follow-on question that he posed to all of us was, what happens when you digitize a leather wallet? We've digitized the paper diary. Okay, let's see what happens when you digitize the leather wallet. Everything, the leather jacket, the plastic cards which sit in it, the paper receipts which come out of it. Now, you're kind of young, Hirsch, okay, but some folks in our audience can relate to the world back in the 90s, okay, where every time you swiped a piece of plastic, whether it was a credit card at a bank at a merchant terminal, or as you kind of started to get more and more plastic, a loyalty card, a frequent flyer card, eventually driver's license, whatever it turned out to be. Every time you swiped a card, okay, you ended up with paper receipts, and then you signed it, you kept one, you gave one to the merchant sent a third one to a processor, and so on and so forth. So in the early 90s, as we started to kind of approach this, in my opinion, very naively, as telecommunication technical folks, not as bankers, not as merchants, not as finance domain experts, we were very naive. We said that, look, let's digitize all of this and let's see what happens. And in many ways, we started to do FinTech, right? I mean, back then, we didn't call it FinTech, but we were using technology to solve for financial challenges. It started with retail, then extended out into other services, eventually came back to the financial kind of value chain and ecosystem.